All right. I'm gonna go ahead and do a video on the GWAI, kind of going back to where we initially started digging into these facilities. Okay. So on Odyssey, you could watch the video with this title, okay, unredacted. Um, Check this out when you get a chance if you like this series or whatever. But they're pointing out deep underground military bases, over 370 miles worth of tunnels where they do neutrino detection systems in Deadwood, South Dakota. Okay, and we'll take a look at it later. But basically, when people talk about deep underground military bases, this is what they would be talking about. We're talking about a facility that is essentially, in a town where there's 3,000 people and 1,000 people work in the facility. And the main lab they're building is going to be right here. An update to the lab they're building is going to be right here. They're actually building it now. It's called Dune. Um, all this stuff, she says it gets like 135 degrees down here. They have air conditioner units or whatever. We'll take a look at that later. But basically, this concept of deep underground military bases and this network of particle accelerators that run a worldwide supermassive hive mind quantum computing system. Okay. DUMS, it's on the ADL website. But yeah, so this is Deadwood, South Dakota. Actually, it's lead or lead, and this is the facility that's in question. And this is the gold mining pit. It used to be a gold mining pit, and they turned it into, I guess you could call it the Scientific Research Center. I want to say the transaction was only $1. They sold it to the South Dakotan government for $1 or something like that. A lot of these big deals you'll see they're done for like $1 or $15. Fascinating stuff as you begin to read into it and learn. This is the Sanford Lab Homestake Visitor Center. Okay, so you can kind of see information on it and whatnot. We'll go ahead and look at the images and we'll go to the website here in a second. But here's some images. This is fascinating as well. The ring structure, okay, and how they use. You're going to find water around the area because they use the water for cooling pools, okay, to essentially cool air or get rid of heat and energy in the form of cooling pools. And you'll see these around a lot of these particle accelerator or you know particle smashing structures, these quantum computing structures. Okay, so a lot of interesting fascinating stuff here. Okay, not only this, the lab is also connected, I want to say like 800 miles away in Illinois to another Fermi lab location where they smash it particles together. Okay, but basically this is the deep science facility. Maybe these 2 points are the, I guess you could say, the air conditioning units or towers. We'll have to look on the map, but here's the website of the facility. They're building neutron detectors underground, all sorts of stuff like this. Okay. You can see a lot. Yeah, I think these would be the AC towers, possibly. Um, Obviously hidden within buildings or structures. So you can see the size and scale of the tunnels. Okay. And the rings that were in front of the building that we saw earlier are only a section of the tunnel, so the tunnels are even larger. And they've been digging tunnels since like the 60s or 50s. So there's so many tunnels down here. 300 miles, more than 300 miles of tunnels, okay? Lead, South Dakota, the town is only about 2,000 people, okay, 3,000 people. But the Sanford Underground Research Facility there is there, as well as, a few other things. The gold mine that used to be there. Okay, but fascinating stuff. Used to be the largest, I want to say, gold mine in the Western Hemisphere or the Northern Hemisphere. Yeah, largest gold, most productive gold mine in the Western Hemisphere. Okay, uh, making the second largest town in South Dakota. It's fascinating. So you can see these ring structures, and you can see the gap between the ring and the actual, I guess, outer ring, which kind of implies that it's magnetic transportation for used to smash particles. We'll get into it, but you can see the size of the rings, and you saw the tunnels, which were even larger, around the ring. So there's a whole lot of stuff down there, miles and miles and miles, more than people I think can comprehend or even fathom. This is all known; it's all on the internet and the websites. But these may be actual particle, magnetic particle transport rings when they use in regards to smashing particles together in these facilities. Okay, so a lot of interesting stuff here. Go ahead and read into this in your time. Magnetotransport and mesoscopic rings and cylinders, effects of electron-electron interaction, and spin orbit coupling. Okay, that's what they use these giant rings for. So you can see it's fascinating too, because if you view the image of how big this place actually is, you saw the big pit mine. That's the pit mine right here. Okay, so this is the pit mine right here. And all this is underground. All this is underground. And the newer labs are being built in this area. The Dune project, which is kind of based off of Lux Zeppelin and the Lux, uh, I guess, projects from earlier. We'll go ahead and dig into some of this, but it's been going on since like the 60s, guys. You can see the satellite view of the town. Okay, there's the big um, gold mine. And so underneath all of this is, numerous tunnels worth, or 300 hundreds of miles of tunnels worth of, you know, deep underground military base, where essentially everyone in this town would have to have secret or top secret clearances if they're all working in the base. Okay. So we have the Sanford Underground Research Facility, and you can see the active programs. Okay. Experiments under development is Dune. Okay. So it's going to go to Illinois, 800 miles away. Uh, some active projects are Lux Zeppelin, where they're trying to detect WIMPs and stuff like this. The Majorana demonstrator, which is fascinating. We'll get to that in a second. Lux, and the Majorana demonstrator kind of explains how all of these are one giant quantum computing network. Okay, but we'll get to that in a sentence. Lux was an old project from 2016, all sorts of things going on here, okay? And just hundreds and hundreds of miles that no one would ever expect underground in some little small town, okay? They have the large underground xenon experiment, which would be the Lux experiment. And I mentioned this before on my channel, but what they're trying to do is basically uh, see stuff like this, find dark matter, all that kind of stuff, okay? It's just fascinating, but a lot of it has to also do with time, okay? And we'll get to that in a second. How they're warping time. This is the Homestake mine. Like I say, it was gold mine. I want to say it was bought out for $1 and turned into a scientific research center. Homestake experiment was the very first one. So before, because if you look at the website, it's like, oh, the mine was bought like 2002 or something like that. But before they even did that, they had experiments in the 60s where they were already building neutrino, detectors. Okay, so all the way in the 60s, they've already had these neutrino detection systems and all this kinds of stuff in the 60s. Okay, none of this is new. They've been doing this for ages and decades and decades and decades. Okay, and we're only hearing about the basic stuff. Okay, but I thought it was interesting that Majorana was the name of, you know, the project that was going on down there, demonstration detection system that they built down in this gold mine in the tunnels. Okay, and I think that's fascinating because Majorana is also the name for Majorana One, which is a hardware device developed by Microsoft with potential applications to quantum computing. Okay, and it's the first computer chip that's supposed to be like I guess, compliant or whatever you want to call it, but basically it's the exact same name, and this is named off of a scientist from back in the day who actually went missing when he was studying these things. Okay, they think the guy either ran away or he went missing. There's fascinating stuff here if you read into it. He went missing after apparently he got off a boat and grabbed some stuff and never was seen again. So a lot of interesting connections here, but how that's tied to the new quantum chip that's allegedly going to be coming out through Microsoft. Deep Underground Neutrino Experiment, or DUNE, okay, is what they're currently building now, and they're expanding on it. And it's supposed to be running for about 20 years for a period of data collection, okay? So about a 20-year period, the CPU violations, that's weird. Um, so yeah, and it's going to be linked to Fermilab, which is in Illinois, and it's okay, it's a huge project. It's like you never hear about it or you don't hear anything about it. This would essentially make it more powerful and more important than CERN. That's going to be built right in the center of the country. And I also think of the Stargate project, which is going to be tied into this some way and somehow. Is like I say, it's all connected and linked together. But a lot of interesting stuff here, and they're doing a lot of stuff in regards with time. Okay, the time projection chambers and quantum or particle acceleration facilities. They call it time projection. Okay, and I keep telling you they're messing with time or projecting things into time or setting context. Okay, and they use all these materials, liquid argon and time projection chambers. Okay, we talked about CERN earlier in the last UWAI video and how they have the White Rabbit program where they're messing with timing systems. Okay, down to the picoseconds and whatnot. There's a lot of stuff here. Okay, a lot of stuff here. First data in an underground lab.